Let me show you what I got. Hello my dear friends, I'm Corey and welcome to this new video. Today we're diving into something that I've been eagerly anticipated for weeks, an unboxing and first impression of my brand new 3D printer, the Phrozen Sonic Mighty Revo. I started my 3D printing journey a couple of years ago. My first printer was the Anycubic Photo Mono X6K, a fantastic machine that helped me print hundreds of beautiful detail models up until very recently, so needless to say, it served me really well. But to be honest, even when I bought it, it was already a bit outdated, and after 2 years of solid use I decided it was time to upgrade to something newer and more advanced. So I started exploring what 3D printing manufacturers offer these days, and that's how I ended up with the Sonic Mighty Revo. I chose this printer for two very specific reasons. First, it has a built-in heater, which is absolutely vital for me because I print in my garage, and during winter, temperatures in there can drop to around 5 degrees Celsius or 41 Fahrenheit at best. And in case you don't know, resin doesn't work well in the cold, especially below 15 degrees Celsius or 59 Fahrenheit. So this feature is a total game changer for me. And second, this machine allows you to change the LCD screen in just a few minutes without dismantling the entire printer. Let me tell you, I've had to replace the screen on my Mono X6K before, and it was an incredibly frustrating and painful nightmare that I never want to repeat. Therefore, this convenient LCD replacement design alone was more than enough to win me over, to be honest. I'm really excited about this printer, and I wanted to share my experience with an unboxing and review. And even though I consider myself a 3D printing amateur, I hope my impression will help others who might be considering buying this printer. But before we get started, just a quick disclaimer: I'm not sponsored by Phrozen or any other brands featured in this video. Everything I share today is based on my own purchase and personal, honest impressions. So, without further ado, let's get started with the unboxing. Alright, let's start with the unboxing of the Phrozen Sonic Mighty Revo. I have to say, the very first thing that caught me off guard was just how heavy this box is. Way heavier than I expected. But that's a good sign, it usually means the build quality is solid, so I was already pretty excited. The main box itself is stunning. It featured this sleek black and orange design that prominently showcased the printer on the cover. It's simple but really classy, and it made the whole experience of opening it feel a bit more special, like I was about to uncover something premium. When I got into the box, I was immediately impressed by how well protected everything was. There's a nice thick layers of foam keeping everything safe and snug, along with multiple layers of protective plastic wrap. No loose parts, no scratches. It's always reassuring when manufacturers put this much care into their packaging. Once everything was unwrapped, I noticed that the printer comes almost fully assembled. A big win in my book, to be honest. The only thing you'll need to attach yourself is the resin vat, which is super simple. Now let's talk about the printer's design, because it's gorgeous. The body is made almost entirely of metal, giving it a premium sturdy feel, and the only plastic you'll find is on the front plate, where the LCD touchscreen and USB port are located. It's sleek, modern, and feel like it's built to last. One feature I immediately appreciated is the lid design. Instead of being completely removable, the lid lifts up. This might sound like a small thing, but trust me, it makes a world of difference. With my previous printer, I always end up shuffling things around on my workspace just to find a spot for the lid. This lifting design is so much more convenient, and I love it. Inside the printer, there's a lot to admire. You've got the engraved build plate mounted on a double linear rail system for extra stability during prints. As I previously said, there's also a built-in heater tucked into the back right corner of the printer, which I'm sure will be fantastic for maintaining consistent resin temperature. Oh, and this is really cool, there's a small camera that comes pre-installed inside the machine. It's magnetic, so you can move it whatever you like within the printer. It's little thoughtful touches like this that makes me so excited to try it out. There's also a little cardboard box tucked neatly inside the printer, filled with accessories. First you get a welcome card that includes a license for Chi2Box Pro, a round piece of sandpaper to smooth the build plate if necessary, a SanDisk USB drive, 2 spatulas, a rubber one for safely mixing resin in the vat, and a steel one for detaching prints from the build plate, a full set of hex keys or Allen keys, a USB air purifier that plugs directly into the machine, a yellow funnel for pouring resin back into the bottle without spill, a pair of nitrile gloves to protect your hands, and finally 2 power cables, one for European outlets and one for the United States. It's an impressive list, and it feels like they thought of everything you'll need to hit the ground running. Before we dive into setting up the printer and printing some models, I want to take a moment to install a tool that has honestly become a must-have for me. To the point that I'm convinced that I'll install one of these on every 3D printer I ever own because it's just that good. And I'm talking about the Wham System's FlexPlate, one of the most important and useful modification anyone can make to their 3D printer, in my opinion. If you've never heard of it before, let me explain why I'm such a big fan. The Wham FlexPlate is a magnetic flexible plate that you attach to your printer's build plate. It's made from spring steel, which bends easily, allow you to pop your printed models off the surface once they're done, without needing to remove the entire build plate from the machine or wrestle with a scraper to get your prints unstuck. Honestly, I find that process a little annoying, frustrating, and even risky for both my prints and my sanity. The system is made up of 2 main parts, the magnet and the flex plate itself. The magnet adheres directly to your printer's build plate, and the flexible steel plate sits on top of it. It's extremely simple, but at the same time a huge game changer in terms of convenience. Now let's get to the fun part, installing it. I'll show you step by step how to apply it to the printer's build plate. Alright, let's install the Wham Flex Plate onto the printer's build plate. To make sure I get this right, I'll be following the official Wham system tutorial, which you can find on their YouTube channel. I'll leave the link down in the description if you want to check it out yourself. Installing the flex plate is fairly straightforward, but it does require a bit of patience and precision. The first step is cleaning the build plate thoroughly with 99.9% pure isopropanol. This step is crucial because any dirt or grease could prevent the adhesive on the magnetic plate from bonding properly. Once that's done, I'll sand the build plate using a piece of sandpaper. This helps create a textured surface for the glue to stick to, ensuring a tight and durable bond. And yes, even though the build plate is brand new, this sanding step is still required. It's a bit nerve-wracking to scuff up a pristine build plate, but trust me, it's worth it in the long run. After sanding, I'll need to clean the plate again to remove any metal dust created during the process. Skipping this step could result in a weak bond, which is definitely not something we want. Now comes the most important step, installing the magnet onto the build plate. This is where things get a little tricky, because any mistake here could ruin the magnet or worse, the build plate itself, and no one wants to deal with that. So here's how I'll do it. First, I'll peel back just a small section of the protective paper from the adhesive side of the magnet. Then I'll carefully align it with the build plate, trying to get it as accurate as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect to the millimeter, but you definitely want it close. Once I've got it lined up, I'll start pressing the magnet down onto the plate, little by little, smoothing it out as I go until the entire magnet is securely glued down. And now we get to the most challenging part of the process, waiting. To ensure the adhesive is fully cured and bonded to the build plate, I'll need to let it sit undisturbed for at least 72 hours. Yeah, 3 whole days. It's a bit of a patient task, but it's absolutely necessary to make sure everything is securely in place. Now, this part might be overkill, but it's something I like to do just for peace of mind. I use a couple of metallic C-clamps to tightly press the build plate down onto my table. This applies extra pressure to the magnetic plate and ensures that the adhesive is squished as firmly as possible onto the build plate. Is it necessary? Probably not, but hey, it doesn't hurt either. And that's it for the installation process. Once those 72 hours are up, I'll be ready to move on to printing. While I'm waiting for the glue on the magnetic flex plate to cure, I want to take a moment to talk about another essential part of my resin 3D printing setup, my wash and cure system. So, beside the Phrozen Sonic Mighty Revo, I also bought another machine, or actually two machines that I think are absolutely vital for anyone looking to get into resin 3D printing, a dedicated wash and cure system. If you're new to resin printing, here's the thing. Resin printing has a huge advantage over FDM printing. It creates incredibly detailed models. But this comes with a big downside, which is that resin is significantly messier, tricky to handle, and most importantly, toxic. You can't just take a print of the build plate and call it done. Every freshly printed models need to be thoroughly clean, either with alcohol or water, if you're using water washable resin, and then fully cured using UV light to ensure the resin hardens properly and becomes safe to handle. All of this cleaning and curing can be a bit of a hassle, which is why wash and cure systems exist, to make the process much faster, cleaner, and easier. Basically, these machines are specifically designed to streamline resin post-processing. Now, I already had a wash and cure machine from Anycubic that I bought alongside my first printer, the Mono X6K. It served me well for 2 years, but after countless uses, it's starting to show its age. It's a little glitchy and it's also, well, a bit gross. There are resin and alcohol stains everywhere and it's just not performing as efficiently as it used to. So, just like when I decided to upgrade my printer, I also decided to upgrade my wash and cure system. This time I went with the wash and cure setup from Phrozen, as it's made by the same manufacturers as my Sonic Mighty Revo. Simple as that. The biggest difference between my old system and this new one is the design. My Anycubic machine was an all-in-one system, meaning it could switch between washing and curing with just the press of a button. While convenient, it meant I had to constantly remove the tank filled with alcohol to switch to curing mode, which was a bit of a hassle. The Phrozen system, on the other hand, takes a different approach. Instead of a single unit, it consists of two separate machines, one dedicated entirely to washing your prints and the other specifically for curing them. Personally, I find this setup to be much more efficient. I don't have to fuss around with tanks or worrying about switching modes. I just move my prints from one machine to the other and it's good to go. Now that I explained the basic, let me show you the new wash and cure units I bought with my new printer. So let's dive into the unboxing of Phrozen's wash and cure machines, an essential part of the post-processing workflow for resin 3D printing in my opinion, and let me tell you, this unboxing took me by surprise. At first glance, I honestly thought Phrozen had sent me the wrong product. The box was so small I couldn't imagine it containing not one, but two separate machines. But when I opened it up, I was amazed at how tightly and efficiently everything was packaged. I think it's pretty clear now that Phrozen put a lot of thought into making the packaging compact without compromising the safety of the machine during shipping. Let's start with the curing machine, which is an absolute game changer. It is a vertical column of UV lights built into the backside, along with a UV light strip located at the base underneath the rotating plate mechanism. This setup ensures that every part of your print is exposed evenly to the UV light from all angles during the curing process. But that's not all. The curing machine also features a pair of fans positioned on the back column, nestled between the group of UV lights. These fans are there to dry your prints, which is a fantastic addition. What makes it even better is the flexibility. You can set the machine to dry only, cure only, or both dry and cure. Just set the timer and the machine takes care of everything. No more fussing around with separate steps, it's all built into one sleek and efficient machine. Now let's move on to the washing system. The washing setup consists of a roughly 8 to 10 liter plastic tank that houses a magnetic fan on the bottom. The fan rotates to create a swirling motion, effectively washing your prints in a way that's oddly reminiscent of a miniature washing machine in my opinion. Here's how it works. You place your print in a metallic basket designed to fit perfectly inside the tank, submerge the basket in your cleaning fluid, whether that's alcohol or water, and set the timer. Once it's running, the fan gets to work, gently but thoroughly cleaning your print. It's simple, efficient, and a huge time saver for post-processing. Overall, I'm incredibly impressed with the thoughtfulness and practicality of both machines. The curing machine's ability to dry and cure prints, combined with the wash system's efficient cleaning setup, make this duo an essential part of any resin printing workflow in my opinion. Finally, the 72 hours of waiting for the glue of the flex plate magnet to properly adhere and cure have passed. And with the magnetic flex plate installed and everything set, it's finally time for the parts we have all been waiting for: printing. I have experimented with various types of resins over the years, including Green Stuff Wars ABS-like resin, Anycubic Tough Resin 2.0, and Phrozen RPG resin. Each of these has its own strengths, but today I'm trying out something new. The Sunlu Toughness Resin. I especially bought this resin for the occasion and I'm really excited to see how it performs. Let me explain why I chose this resin. If you're anything like me, a bit clumsy when handling miniatures, you know the heartbreak of accidentally dropping a model and seeing it shatter in a million pieces. Resin, while fantastic for its details and sharpness, has a reputation for being brittle and fragile, and over the years I had countless models break or chip, which is immensely frustrating. That's why I've been a huge fan of tough resin like Anycubic Tough Resin 2.0 and the Phrozen RPG resin, because these resins are more flexible and durable, making them far more forgiving for someone like me. However, they do come with a hefty price tag, and that's where the Sunlu Toughness Resin caught my eyes. It promises similar properties to those premium resins, but at a significant lower cost, saving me about $15 to $20 per bottle, so I really hope that this resin delivers its promise. For this special test print, I decided to showcase a model from a sculptor I recently discovered, Marta Punk Girl. They create stunning female Space Marine models, and one of my absolute favorite is the Shield Maiden Girl with a U. This model is not only beautifully detailed, but also comes with an impressive array of customizable bits, making it perfect for testing the capabilities of the Sonic Mighty Revo, and plus, all those intricate details will give the Sunlu Toughness Resin a proper challenge. If you're interested in Marta Punk Girl's work, I'll leave links to their Cults 3D and my mini factory profile in the description below. So, let's fire up the printer and get this print going. Can't wait to see how it turns out. To prepare my files for printing, I use Lychee Slicer, which is my go-to slicing software for resin printing. If you're curious about the exact setting I use, here's a screenshot of my configurations. Feel free to pause the video if you'd like to take a closer look or replicate this setting for your own prints. One more standout feature of this printer is the Frozen Go app, which lets you monitor the status of your print remotely as long as the printer is connected to the internet. I have to mention though that I did run into a small issue with the app initially. For some reason the app showed that my printer wasn't connected to Wi-Fi and I couldn't delete the printer or even my account to start over. But here's the good news, Frozen customer support team was absolutely fantastic. Shout out to Mickey from their support team. They resolved the issue in just a few hours without requiring me to do anything on my end, handling everything remotely, quickly and efficiently. Needless to say, I was blown away by how smooth and professional the experience was, so good job. Now let's move on to the prints themselves, starting with my very first test print. And let me tell you, it was an immediate success. The level of detail on this print was simply astonishing. Every small and intricate feature was rendered perfectly, and I couldn't be happier.
As I already said, I use Sunlu's flexible resin, and I was initially concerned that a flexible resin might not retain fine details, but I'm thrilled to report that I was completely wrong. The results were phenomenal. After this successful first run, I decided to challenge the printer with a variety of models to see how it handled different shapes and sizes. First up, I printed this amazing Inquisitor riding a giant bat from Titan Forge Miniature. It's an impossibly cool model with an incredible amount of details, and the printer handled it like a pro. Next, I printed a unit of halfling hoplites from 1 gold piece. This adorable yet fierce warrior turned out beautifully. And now I'm seriously considering printing an entire 24 soldier unit for a themed Empire army in Warhammer the Old World. And finally, I wanted to test the printer's capabilities with a larger model, so I chose a terrain piece from the Middle-earth terrain set by Taxarli Factories. This big, intricate piece came out perfectly, making it an ideal addition to my gaming table. If you're interested into buying this file, go down in the description, all the links are down there. So, in conclusion, every single print I've made with this machine has exceeded my expectation. The models are incredibly detailed, with no visible layer lines to the naked eye. They kinda remind me of the high-quality plastic miniature you'd find in modern board games like the new edition of HeroQuest or Massive Darkness, for example. I'm extremely happy with the experience and print quality of this machine. So much that I'm seriously considering buying another printer from Phrozen, the Mini 8KS.
Alright my friends, I think this might be the end for this video. Let me know what you think about my new printer, my new setup, or the wash and cure, or the resin. If you have already experienced with this resin, with other resin, with this printer, whatever. Let me know down in the comments what you think, and also leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Alright my dear friends, I think this is actually the real end for this video. I don't think I'm going to do anything new until January, I guess. We'll have to see. It's just that at the time of recording, I'm in the middle of December, and there are a lot of things that are going on right now. I don't know if I have much time to actually make a new video at the moment, but we'll see. Until then, I'm Corey, and I hope to see you the next time. Ciao, ciao, my friends.